How do you feel right now?
I feel like time is flying by. You look at this Ireland trip, and you knew the schedule was going to be a little bit different. Spring went by in a blur. Summer went by in a blur. June, as a football coach, June doesn't even exist to you anymore. I think I was on vacation for about 4 days and was in the office the rest of the time, and now the game is afoot. So it's going by really quick, but I feel good about where our guys are at.
Is there a position group that's taken the biggest leap forward in the last few weeks?
Great question. I'll just say it to you this way. I think I feel pretty good about our starters, and I think the thing was, who are those next guys that are going to play significant snaps? And Coach, we did a little situational walkthrough out there today, and Coach called out the second defense, and they got together in a little group, and I looked at that group of guys, and I'm like, there's some pretty dang good football players here. I mean, they're good-looking kids. They're kids that know what they're doing. They're kids that I would trust to be out there. So I don't know. I think a lot of groups have made a great leap. I think probably the group that has impressed me the most with the progress they've made since the spring is the corners. Just watching Zayshawn Rich and Donovan McIntosh, Justice Clemens, Jaden Rowe playing with confidence. It's fun to watch those guys right now. And that was probably the biggest question mark, losing the two seniors from a year ago. Obviously, both of them very good players, and I don't think we're going to drop off there at all.
A guy like Jaden, does that change how you cover? I mean, you got that kind of size.
Jaden's a different animal now. I mean, so he's about 227 pounds. He ran a 10.3 in high school. He's physical. I mean, he uses it. And you'd think change of direction or something like that would be an issue for him. It's not. So he is a different animal. He's a different animal, and I think he came from a system at Oklahoma where they did so much, and I don't know if they did anything. I'm not saying them as a system, but I'm saying I don't know if he did any technique really well. And so we do less with our guys, but we try to do it with great technique. And so we're trying to get him dialed in on just that. I don't think it's a stress for him mentally, but I think just, hey, I'm a divider. I'm a man player. This is how we do it, and that's what we're trying to work on with him.
Joe, over the years, you've had this old school fly around defense. It's been your trademark. You see that in these guys, or are they flying around maybe a little bit more?
These guys care. They're about it, and they hold each other accountable to that, which is the coolest thing. It's not me pushing the buttons. And there are some guys that we have that are going to be big parts of this that are transfers. Quay Moss is going to be a big part of this. Gunnar Maldonado is going to be a big part of this. Gabe Powers is going to be a big part of this. Guys that were in different programs a year ago, and they're taking pride in it. I hear them using our language. I hear them, when it comes to, there's football terminology, sure, but there's also a language of how we run to the football, how we play, how we execute, how we do those things, and to see it permeating through those guys is fun.
What's your depth?
We're still working on the middle safety right now. I think there's some good competition there, and the reason we're working on it is I think there's still some injuries that are guys are coming back from injury. Gunnar Maldonado obviously had an ACL last year. He's working back. Colby McAllister had an ACL last year. He's working back. Those guys are going to be big parts of it, probably bigger parts at the end of the year than they will be in the beginning of the year. VJ Payne's been nails. He's been fantastic, vocal, as we would expect. Wesley Fair's been tremendous. Wesley's been, quick blurb on Wesley. I mean, anything we've ever asked that kid to do, he's done. He played a smaller level, good football, but he played a smaller level of football. So, didn't get exposed to a bunch of different things, even though he was in a great program. And, he came here just learning stuff, learning the complexity of it, and he nailed it. Then it was, Wesley, man, I don't know if you're fast enough to do this stuff. And, work on your speed. And he nailed it. He's a 22-mile-an-hour guy now. Wesley, can you be physical? Are you going to, turn your head on? Now he's nailing that. I mean, he's just anything we've asked that kid to do through his career, he's done, and he's been fantastic. I'll tell you, Logan Bartley, as a true freshman, will play this year. He is different. He's a unique talent, and his maturity level and how he's picking things up right now is absolutely incredible. I don't know if I've ever seen it that good from a guy that young. Granted, he was here in the spring, but he'll play. And so there's a number of guys right now in that mix Daniel Cobbs has been so much better. Quay Moss has been fantastic. That we think can play. We still got to sort that out.
We got like VJ back there. Does that allow you to be more aggressive in some of the things that you do?
VJ helps us so much, just calming some of those guys that haven't played down. You know, if you're Wesley Fair, and I know we get to Ireland, he handles everything in practice just fine. I don't know what that's going to look like now when I've, you know, the only game playing and I'm, you know, everybody's got to have their first time, right? I don't know what that's going to look like for Logan Bartley. You know, I got a feeling I know what it's going to look like for Gunnar Maldonado because he's done it before at a different place. Daniel Cobbs has done it a little bit. Quay Moss has done it a little bit at a different place. But I think VJ brings a lot of confidence to those guys to know he's going to communicate with you and, okay, I know that word. I know that structure. I know what we're doing here. And especially against a team like Iowa State that's going to move people all over the place and do different things. That's where VJ is probably the most valuable. Obviously, he's a tremendous football player too, but I think he brings a lot of calm to the people around him.
Here you give this thumbnail sketch just on Iowa State's offense.
Yeah, they're, you know, they're going to have a lot of experience back. They're going to be one of the more physical fronts in our league. Always are. I think they're very well coached. They have a lot of really good players at tight end. And as such, they try to get those guys on the field. So you're going to get a plethora of personnel groups with them. You're going to be in 3 tight ends and 2 tight ends and sometimes 1 and, you know, whatever. But those guys are going to be a part of the plan. But you could have 3 tight ends out on the field and be in, you know, some formation that, you know, typically you wouldn't do out of 3 tight ends. You know, we didn't see a couple of their tight ends a year ago because they were injured. So it'll be interesting to see how they use those guys. We think we have a decent idea how they might use those guys, but that's so they a lot of complexity, I guess I would say, and they probably don't do a ton from a schematic standpoint. They do what they believe in, but they're going to guise it up and make it look 100 different ways, and that's the mission. I mean, they can come at you a lot of different ways, though. They've got, as I mentioned, they're very well coached, and of course, hard to do all that stuff if you don't have a quarterback that can handle it, and they obviously do.
Some more thoughts on Rocco.
I'm sorry.
Give me some more thoughts on Rocco back, quarterback.
I think he's a very smart football player, very poised football player. I think he is sneaky in the way that he can extend plays. He's got a kind of a innate ability to, you know, find scramble lanes typically internally, and causes a lot of problems for people that way. So it makes you a little bit leery of some of the things you're doing coverage-wise with him. You know, he's probably not going to win a beauty contest or a 40-yard dash against you know, some of the quarterbacks in the league, but he probably is as capable of a scrambler as anybody. So he's I have much respect for him.
Real quick, Gunner available for Dublin?
The plan right now is yes.
How has this helped you going against this offense every day for 16?
Yeah, you know, Coach Wells. You know, a lot of the things that Iowa State's doing are things that we've seen over the years. You know, they run a lot of A-gap power. You know, that's been our baby at North Dakota State, and you know, here, you know, first with Courtney Messingham, then Connor, and you know, that's kind of been something that we've tried to dabble into. You know, just like them, we are going to have a bunch of personnel groups. You know, we're seeing a lot of 13 and 12 and 11 and stuff, and that helps us. I think if we were just a team that's going to go 4 wides and do all that stuff, I don't know if we'd be prepared to play a game like this. Kind of like playing a wishbone team. They're just different. But because they're similar to us structurally, offensively, I think that's how they're helping us prepare the best.